The government of Uganda has put in place efforts to promote the use of standards and quality infrastructure to improve the competitiveness of Uganda's products, processes and service delivery systems in the domestic, regional and international markets. The government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, with support and supervision of UNBS, has invested in promoting quality and standards by establishing an institutional framework for the cross-cutting area of standards and quality infrastructure. UNBS is mandated to support and undertake activities under the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives to support quality and standards. With the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency (SIDA) and Trademark East Africa, Government of Uganda has developed a 5-year comprehensive program, the Quality Infrastructure and Standards Program (QISP), whose overall objective is to promote quality infrastructure and standards. The documentary outlines how government and its mandated agency UNBS is driving the use of quality and standards. Several national policies and initiatives to promote quality and standards have been put in place by government, and some are in discussion phases, as explained here by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Honorable Amelia Chambadde.
We developed a national quality and standards policy, and it's about to be, we have already launched its implementation, and it's going to roll out in the country. We have also amended the UNBS Act. UNBS Act was quite silent on some of the issues, but now we have involved even the punitive action against the defaulters. So it is more of a stringent and stronger act that will apparently help us to manage the quality and standards. It imposes a minimum penalty of 10 million and maximum penalty of 200 as one of the deterrent penalties of offenders who are found violating the law. And it has helped. We have managed to curb the entry of substandard goods into the country by at least 35–45%. We've managed to control them from entering the country. We have embarked on quality and standards awareness and sensitization, but we have also created an SME desk in UNBS. Another issue that we are now concentrating on, or in the new financial year, is to roll out the UNBS offices in the region. We have attempted to open offices in Luwero, in some of the Arua, Lira, in some areas, so that people can access the quality and standard services. We are also constructing a home for UNBS. And what does it mean? We want to equip it with state-of-the-art machinery and equipment so that we improve on our services.
QISP, as a key implementing program for UNBS activities, embarked on a sensitization campaign in order to achieve its overall objective, the Standards and Awareness Campaign. This documentary is among the key items that seek to highlight the progress in implementing quality standards and infrastructure in the country. Overall, quality and standards infrastructure is expected to benefit consumers, manufacturers and resellers. On this, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives has this to explain.
The Ministry encourages all manufacturers to take their products for testing and accreditation so that they become acceptable to the consumers. The Ministry, together with other government agencies, also carries out spot checks in industries to advise them on what they need to do to be able to develop the accepted standards in the industry. But more particularly with the medium and small scale enterprises, the Ministry has a program to support them to be able to meet the standards through incubation processes at URI and also at the UNBS.
Notably, standards don't drop from heaven, they are developed. Dr. Ben Manyindo, the Executive Director of UNBS, takes us through the process of developing standards.
When we are developing standards, we look at the international standards or regional standards, then adopt them into ours as Ugandan standards. So you must have membership. Uganda National Bureau of Standards is a full member of the International Standards Organization. We are members of the World Trade Organization. We are members of Codex, which is a body that deals with international standards in food. We are now a member of a body called OIML, which is the International Organization for Legal Metrology. Those ones help us in a number of ways. First of all, we adopt their technical documents which have been internationally recognized, but they also help us with technical capacity in trying to put capacity in the national standards bodies. And this standard is used by two parties. It is used by the business community to make sure that what they are producing as a product meets those requirements. It's also used by government, which are the regulatory agencies, to make sure that the consumers get safe and quality products on the market.
It is generally recognized that the export markets can only be obtained and sustained when our locally produced products are internationally competitive, not only in prices but also in quality. Uganda therefore requires a strong national standards infrastructure capable of carrying out quality management that can help our products compete on the international scene.
Our emphasis is that only goods that meet the required standards is allowed to enter Uganda. That therefore requires that they should be inspected at the point of origin, because it will save the customer money and also it will save the consumer the health issue. We have therefore, under this program, contracted international service providers to offer for us pre-shipment inspection at the point of origin. We are doing this for both goods and motor vehicles. This scheme has been in operation since June last year, and we are ensuring that there is total compliance with this process. We have carried out very intense sensitization with the public so that only those goods that meet the approved standards are allowed into the country.
To appreciate quality and standards infrastructure, one must understand its components and how they deliver value to everyone. These components include metrology, which is the science of measurement. And here, UNBS experts take us through ensuring correct measurements as a component of standards.
The process for, as far as legal metrology activities are concerned, we have a number of processes. One is counter machines that you use in selling of goods in the marketplace, in the shop. If you have maybe fuel pumps, if you have depometers, if you have any kind of measurement that is regulated, whereby you use that equipment, result into a cash transaction whereby somebody has to pay for that service. So there, what you need to do is to go to our offices in the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, weights and measures offices, which are situated in all the regional 5 offices. Take your equipment, for instance, if it is a weighing equipment that is used in trade, you'll be directed on what to do.
And the instrument is supposed to be checked, and after ascertaining that instrument is correct, it is stamped and attached with normally attached stickers to an indication that instrument can be used in trade and therefore has no problem.
And of course you have to pay money, which we call verification fees. But if the equipment is found to be faulty, the inspector will direct you to take it to our mechanics who are licensed by Uganda National Bureau of Standards, but they are private people. They are doing private business so that they can repair that equipment. And after they have repaired it, then those mechanics resubmit it again to Uganda National Bureau of Standards, weights and measures offices, so that an inspector can verify to see whether the mechanic has corrected what has been identified as being faulty on that equity.
A good example of metrology is the inspection of fuel pumps to ensure that they dispense the right amount of fuel. Dr. Manyindo has this to say.
Those pumps are supposed to be checked twice a year by Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and we put a stamp on them. Checked on this date, next check is on this date. Make sure you look for those. If those stamps are missing, then we advise that please don't buy, because we are not sure the amount of fuel you are going to get. If you are buying 10, maybe you are buying less. 2, the quality of the fuel. We have another program called the Fuel Marking and Monitoring Program. We have now 4 vehicles which move around the country. They have equipment on board, and they go to each petrol station, they pick a sample, test it on spot, and they'll give you results in 5 minutes, telling you your fuel has passed, which is okay, or it has failed. When it fails, then you are in a problem, because we are going to put a seal on your petrol station and we investigate what is going to happen. So we have fuel pumps verification, we have fuel quality monitoring for the fuel. At the border, there is also fuel marking, putting in a chemical which we trace in the marketplace for the fuel. So that's the intervention we are making as far as the fuel is concerned. We hope with time, in actual fact, we have already since 2008, the adulteration rate for fuel was 28%. As we talk now, it is around 5%. We are looking for better results, but we need the cooperation of everybody.
Another component of quality and standards is conformity assessment. Conformity assessment activities include inspection, testing, verification, or certification. A conformity assessment report, therefore, tells whether a product conforms to standards and regulations or not, as explained by Annette Nabengo and Martin Imalingat.
In the past, we used to have people stationed at the factories doing inspection. That means that you have almost 1,000 inspectors employed by Unbs to be stationed at factories. But now we went into a partnership arrangement. That's the new framework for certification, whereby you have somebody who is committed, a manufacturer or service provider, committed to providing a quality service. He makes an application to Unbs that I want to have my product certified. He fills that application and submits relevant documents which are required to be attached. Some of the documents relate to the qualifications of the personnel that is using. They relate to the production processes that is using. They relate to the kind of quality controls that is actually having in place.
For certification, we have system certification and product certification. When we have a system certification, this is when a facility is certified. And when a facility is certified, that is compliance to a standard.
Failure by a country to carry out conformity assessment can lead to rejection of exports that are not accompanied by conformity assessment reports. Alternatively, conformity assessment will be done by the export market and may result in blacklisting or banning products that fail to conform to the domestic market standards. If there is no conformity assessment, consumers will suffer because there is dumping of substandard, dangerous, shoddy and hazardous products on the market. This is because once substandard products enter the market, it's hard to get them out. Capacity to weed them out is inadequate or lacking.
We are looking at the ordinary person in the village who may not even know how to read and write. How do I identify a product which is genuine, which I should buy or not? So we have come now with the programs, and that's why we say we need local products have a quality mark. So we shall tell this consumer, turn the product upside down. Is there a quality mark? Yes, buy. No, be careful in buying. The others, label. A label on a product is supposed to be consumer information. It tells you which product it is, the amount of that product, either in kilograms or grams, or the volume. It also gives you, if it's a food, what it contains in that one, but most importantly for consumer products, expiry date.
When we find expired stuff, of course, we remove them from the shelf, we take them for destruction, but of course the management of the supermarket is reprimanded for selling expired goods to the consumer. We advise customers whenever they are going to buy things in the supermarkets or anywhere else, they should be looking at, especially if you're buying a food product, food stuff, you should look at the expiry date. If you're buying an electrical product, you should look at the safety of the product. If you find the live and the neutral are open, they should not be open on the extension cables. They should be closed. It's only when you put on a top plank, that's when they should be open, the live and the neutral. But if you find those which are open, do not buy them because they are very unsafe. Because if you want to take them home, children can use them and can cause problems. They can get electrocuted.
Accreditation is another component of quality and standards infrastructure. Accreditation is third-party attestation that a conformity assessment body fulfills specified requirements and is competent to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. Dennis Ainebiona, Program Officer, QUISP, gives a deeper understanding of accreditation.
Accreditation is one of the key elements of the national quality infrastructure. The government has realized this need as it was missing in the quality infrastructure, and under the Ministry of Trade, a national accreditation focal point has been established, which is spearheading the process of establishing a national accreditation body that will be providing this service to Ugandan enterprises, to Ugandan laboratories, and accreditation is a key pillar for a very effective quality infrastructure. Today, the trend is to have a free market with no economic trade barriers. And for this to occur, the trading partners must be able to trust in the quality of the goods being traded and the measurements and the tests being conducted by each party. And this can only be assured by accreditation.
And during accreditation, they accredit staff, they accredit methods, they accredit machinery, they also accredit the parameters which the staff are using to test those samples.
Ugandan laboratories is a key aspect for effective quality infrastructure. Today, profitable trade requires a free market environment with no trade barriers. And for this to occur, the trading partners must be able to trust in the quality of goods being traded and the measurements and tests being conducted by each party, and these can only be assured by accreditations. UNBS has 4 internationally accredited laboratories, as explained by Dos Mubangizi of UNBS.
The first laboratory is a chemistry laboratory, which tests chemical characteristics of products. The products can be food products, they can be chemicals, or they can be other materials. But the chemical characteristics are determined in the chemistry laboratory. We also have a microbiology laboratory. The microbiology laboratory tests for microorganisms present in a substance, especially food products and sometimes non-food products. Microbiology is important because we are trying to check whether food or drinks or water contain harmful microorganisms such as bacteria. So we actually test to check whether harmful bacteria are present or absent. If they are present, then we tell the manufacturer or the client that that product has a problem. We also have a materials testing laboratory for testing, especially building materials.
We carry out tests on cement. We have steel products, we have concrete products, we have clay products, we have plastic products, that is for plumbing, for water system. We have ceramic products, those ones include wall tiles and floor tiles. We have iron sheets, both galvanized and pre-painted. We have sand and soil, also we do test them. We also test aggregates.
We also have an electrical testing lab. Now, the electrical lab is meant to test the electrical products that we normally use, especially electrical appliances in our homes, to see whether they are safe. Most electrical products because they use electricity, they should be handled carefully and they must be safe. So there are some characteristics that we must check on that product to make sure that it's actually safe. For example, wires, electrical wires. If electrical wires are not meeting standards, they can cause fire, they can cause electrocution. So what we do is we test in our laboratory to see whether the wire is thick enough to conduct electricity, or whether the insulation is good enough, or whether it does not have exposed points which have electricity, which can give somebody shock. So that's what we normally do in electrical lab, testing the safety of electrical products. We also test for solar products like solar panels to make sure that they are giving you enough electricity from the sun, so that you are not given those which don't actually produce electricity, which are substandard. And that is on the part of electrical products. But that's not enough. Our testing results must be very accurate. What I mean by very accurate is that what I test in a product should actually be what is there. I should not pretend to test a product and I give results which actually are fake.
Once we have done that, we prepare a report which is then submitted to an independent evaluation team. That team is separate from those people who had carried out the audit, the factory audit, the on-site factory audit. These people look at whether the process was done properly. They consider the test reports, they consider the audit report, whether any issues that were raised have been closed appropriately, and then they take a decision to grant the permit for use of either the quality mark or for use of the quality management system marks. Once that is done, then the director writes to you indicating that yes, your application was successful and we are granting you permission to use either the product certification mark or the quality system management system marks.
As a trader, manufacturer or consumer, what is your responsibility in promoting standards and quality infrastructure?
If you are a manufacturer, we ask you first and foremost to register with the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. 2, we ask you to belong to some sort of an association. Either if you are small, we can say Uganda Small Scale Industries Association. If you are a little bit bigger, then you register with Uganda Manufacturers Association. We want you to belong somewhere. And why I want you to belong somewhere is because it is easier for us as Uganda National Bureau of Standards to help you to meet the requirements of the standards of the products that you want to put on the market. So we are encouraging people to register with us so that we work with them and assist them in applying those standards and also in trying to get their quality products on the market.
The consumer must insist whenever he's making any purchase, whether in a local market, whether in the shops, that what he's buying is value for money, that it is safe, that it will not cause him health problems, because the essence of consumer is that you get value for money for your money and that it is safe for you to use the product.
And you should avoid substandard and expired goods. Of course, I know most people say they do not know. Sometimes they can't tell the difference. But I think the ministry and UNBS has to come out aggressively and showcase some of the products that are substandard or are counterfeit. Another point is that we are working on the Anti-Counterfeit Act bill, which is going to be in Parliament for the 3rd reading, and we are sure that by the end of this year it will be out. Because even anti-counterfeits in most cases are substandard, because people make them to make quick profits. Let us work together to fight substandard goods off the market, because you are also responsible, you as members of the business community, because you are the ones who import some of these substandard goods. Let us work together for the good of our future generation. Let us work together for the good of our environment. but also for the prosperous and economic growth of this country.
Message from Unbs, Young Molo, Jackie.